What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and if you're having a rough day, at least, well, look on the bright side. You're not Joe Manchin, who, man, is having a rough time. They're saying he's exposed. I've got video footage and articles you're not going to want to miss. They're calling him a dirty, sleazy, side-dealing senator, you guys. And could be impacting everybody because we could be experiencing a government shutdown as a result of all the bickering and fighting that's happening right now. Now, I'm going to get you caught up on the latest. This is your breaking news, stimulus check update, and stimulus package update. And like I said, I've got some video footage from Bernie Sanders calling him out by name, saying he's aware of the corruption that's taking place right now with Senator Joe Manchin. You're not going to want to miss it. Stick around for this. But you guys, take a look at the headlines very quickly. Progressives, they flex against Manchin's side deal on permitting reform. Schumer-Manchin energy permitting plan teeters in the Senate ahead of the key government funding deadline. And sleazy backroom deals. Progressives tangle one more time with Joe Manchin. And man, wait till you see the video footage. Now, Bernie Sanders is saying his primary concern is that if they pass this side deal, it's going to be negatively impacting the environment. And he's concerned about climate change. But we're also hearing there's a lot of progressives that are a little bit sore at Joe Manchin because over the past 2 years, he has not been on board with the Democratic agenda. He has, they've said, destroyed the reconciliation stimulus bill. That was the Build Back Better bill, ripped out all of the provisions, passed it, whittled down, and they are not happy with him and his lack of support for the Democratic agenda. Now, in addition to that, Republicans are not very happy with Joe Manchin either because they thought he was taking a stand against the Democratic agenda. And then at the last minute, he did this side deal, got on board and passed it through. And so now Democrats and Republicans alike, they are not happy with Joe Manchin. And we're also hearing that the approval in his state has plummeted. So right now, like I said, if you're having a rough day, well, at least you're not Joe Manchin. He doesn't really seem to have very many friends right now, you guys. And like I said, wait till you see the video footage. So we're going to be diving in, and also wanted to mention the relief roadmap. I know a lot of people have given me a lot of positive feedback. Thank you so much. A lot of people very happy with it, but some have said they can't hear the videos. And I don't know why it's like this on the platform, but if you're watching it on your iPhone, you got to expand it. You got to click the little square at the bottom, expand it, and then turn the sound on. It's there. You just got to turn it on. And then also, if you're on your phone, if you click on the relief roadmap section, there's federal, state, county, city. You click on the section, and then you have to scroll down. It doesn't auto-populate right underneath the button. You just got to scroll down a little bit. So it's all there for you. And for those of you that have let me know you're having trouble logging in, you guys, I was on the phone yesterday with technical support going through some other options. I'm going to go through each and every one of those requests for the few that have been locked out and make sure that I can get you access, you guys. And just bear with me, have some patience. It's just me, and I'm going to be figuring this out, making sure I can help you out, you guys. But I will get you taken care of. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and take a look at this video footage. But before we do, also wanted to mention more content coming on the second channel, Steve Ram Finance. If you want to learn about growing wealth, personal finance, consider joining that channel as well. And my first video on there, I shared with you some advice that I received directly from a multimillionaire that I sought out. He told me to focus on 3 things. And he said, if you focus on these 3 vehicles, you will gain financial freedom, success, wealth, you will do well. And I listened to him, and it worked. And I share with you exactly what he told me in that video. Now, in addition to that, this week, I'm also going to be releasing either today or tomorrow another video on how we can reprogram our minds. Our minds are actually negativity magnets. They seek out negative things, and we have to reprogram them to help us thrive and not just survive. It seeks out negativity, acknowledges it, so that way we can either deal with problems or get around them, so that way we can survive, but we need to reprogram our minds. Covering that specifically for investing in real estate in that video, but I think it's very applicable for a lot of different things in life. So if you're interested, keep an eye out for that video coming here on the second channel. And also, as I mentioned, you guys, on a federal level for stimulus here on this channel, we're hearing it's coming back. We just heard child tax credits back on the negotiating table. A final push, we're hearing, a Hail Mary by Democrats to get this through. They're even willing to negotiate with Republicans on certain tax agenda items for the GOP to get this through. So we will see. This actually might come through with legislation, you guys. And I will keep you up to date every step of the way. But let's go ahead and dive into this video footage and these articles, get you caught up as to what's going on right now. Like I said, this could spark a government shutdown if they don't come to some kind of agreement So let's dive right in. Now, before we do, if you appreciate the updates, don't forget, smash the like button for me. Helps out the channel a ton. Thank you so much. Leave your comments, share this out. If you want to stay up to date, it's free. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and any specific questions, hop onto Instagram, shoot me a DM at SteveRam3. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right in. So first off, take a look at this article, you guys. Sleazy backroom deals. Progressives tangle one more time with Senator Joe Manchin. It says, after nearly 2 years of watching Joe Manchin tank some of their biggest priorities, House progressives finally have sway over one of his. And it says, and they have every intention of using it. Dozens of House Democrats are now threatening Manchin's proposal to streamline energy project permits, even if it breaks the commitment that was paved the way for the party's massive climate tax and healthcare victory earlier this summer. Now that President Joe Biden has signaled that legislation into law, House liberals insist that they have the numbers to at least force a negotiation on a Manchin side deal that they see as a too fossil fuel friendly deal. This is a tale of two houses, slamming Schumer and Manchin's agreement to take up permitting reform in exchange for his vote on the party line bill as a sleazy backroom deal. It's all shaping up as Democrats' last big internal fight before the midterms, you guys. So they want to get this through. We're going to be seeing if they're going to be able to pull it off. Now, the Senate is planning to pass a short-term funding bill with the permitting reform attached just before September 30th, the deadline. And we're going to be seeing if they can pull this off, you guys. And they said, I would think that common sense would have to kick in sooner or later to see if they're going to be able to come to some sort of agreement. Now, a lot of them are vocalizing they don't want to see this go through. They think that it's going to be hurting the climate, and they're against supporting Manchin, you guys. And let's take a look at what Senator Bernie Sanders had to say, and you can see it for yourself.
Mr. President, like every other member of the Senate, I have a pretty good understanding of how politics works in our corrupt political system. Like every other senator, I understand what campaign contributions are about. I understand what the thousands of lobbyists all over Capitol Hill do, and I surely understand the extraordinary power of the fossil fuel industry to push the legislation that they want. In fact, they were successful for decades in lying to the American people about the reality of climate change. So I know about the power of the fossil fuel industry. But today I beg of my colleagues that at this moment, when the future of the world is literally at stake, that at this moment we have the courage to stand up to the fossil fuel industry and to tell them and the politicians that they sponsor that the future of the planet is more important than their short-term profits. Mr. President, in the coming weeks and months, the Senate has a fundamental choice to make. We can listen to the fossil fuel industry and the politicians they pay, who are spending huge amounts of money on lobbying and campaign contributions to pass this dirty side deal. Or we can listen to the scientists and the environmental community, who are telling us loudly and clearly to reject this side deal and eliminate the $15 billion in tax breaks and subsidies Congress is already providing to big oil and gas companies each and every year. Mr. President, while the legislative text of this side deal has not been made public, according to a one-page summary that was released last month, this bill would make it easier for the fossil fuel industry to receive permits to complete some of the dirtiest and most polluting oil and gas projects in America. Specifically, this deal would approve the $6.6 billion Mountain Valley Pipeline, a 303-mile frack gas pipeline spanning from West Virginia to Virginia and potentially on to North Carolina. We're talking about a pipeline that would generate emissions equivalent to 37 coal plants or over 27 million cars each and every year. Mr. President, it is hard for me to understand why anyone who is concerned about climate change would consider for 1 second voting to approve a pipeline that would be equivalent to putting 27 million more cars on the road each and every year, especially at a time we're trying to transition into electric vehicles. Mr. President, on August 24th, over 650 environmental and civil rights organizations wrote a letter to Majority Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi urging them to reject this ideal. This letter was signed by the Sierra Club, the Sunrise Movement, Friends of the Earth, Physicians for Social Responsibility, 350.org, Greenpeace, Public Citizens, People's Action, and the NAACP. And here is a summary of what the letter says. Quote, this is a letter signed by 650 environmental and civil rights groups. Quote, on behalf of 653 frontline communities and environmental organizations representing millions of members and supporters nationwide, we are writing to express our strenuous opposition to any additional fossil fuel giveaways. Alarming proposals have been referenced by Senator Manchin in a short memo and in legislative language that was clearly drafted in consultation with the American Petroleum Institute. It has been reported that Manchin has demanded these handouts to the fossil fuel industry as a further price for his vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which already included large giveaways to polluters. We call on you to unequivocally reject any effort to promote fossil fuels, advance unproven technologies, and weaken our core environmental laws. This fossil fuel wish list is a cruel and direct attack on environmental justice communities and the climate. This legislation would truncate and hollow out the environmental review process, weaken tribal consultations, and make it far harder for frontline communities to have their voices heard by gutting bedrock protections in the National Environmental Policy Act and Clean Water Act. Supporting this legislation will represent a profound betrayal of frontline communities and constituents across the country who have called on you to advance a just, renewable energy future. End of quote. That is from 650 environmental organizations. Mr. President, I could not agree more, and I would ask unanimous consent to include this entire letter in the congressional record.
Man, so there you have it, you guys. Bernie Sanders calling out Joe Manchin. We're hearing that he's being exposed for his dirty, sleazy side deals. Wow, let me know your thoughts, you guys. Now, we'll be seeing what unfolds here because, like I said, if they do not pass the stopgap funding bill, which is also going to have this permitting deal tied to it, it's going to be a government shutdown. Who do you think is going to budge? Is Joe Manchin going to be willing to negotiate, pull that off? Are the Democrats going to have to agree to pass it through? Let me know your thoughts, you guys, but they are at an impasse right now, and we will see what happens. And I will keep you up to date every step of the way. Now, in addition to that, as I mentioned, we're going to be waiting to see what unfolds with federal level stimulus and more stimulus on every single level. And like I said, I'll keep you up to date, and I'll keep the relief roadmap updated for you as well. But that is the latest, you guys, and as always, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget to take a quick second, smash the like button for me. Helps out the channel a ton. Leave your comments, share this out. If you want to stay up to date, it's free. Why not? All you got to do is hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. Any specific questions, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. Consider joining the second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth and personal finance. And with that being said, you guys, once again, thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.